Hi, this is Alexcursus, a show where I take a look at some Gundam or figurine and see how authentic they are. This time, we are looking at the HG12144 RX-78-3 G3 Gundam Beyond Global. G3 Gundam or Gundam Unit 3 is the third type of the RX-78 developed by the Earth Federation. Unlike the previous two models, there isn't much new engineering given to the G3, rather is a more mature version of the RX-78-2. And all the improvement that Federation did to the G3 eventually being retrofitted on the RX-78-2. That's why by the end of the war, the RX-78-2 and G3 are identical machines except for different in coloration. I'll be rating the authenticity of this kit with Saga, Style, Action, Gimmick, and Absence. Style is how closely does the model kit resemble its anime, manga, games, or other media's counterparts. In case of G3 Gundam, you have two sources of origin. One is the novel version of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, where Amuro just took the G3 instead of waiting for the RX-78-2 to be upgraded. And the other is the MSV or Mobile Suit Variation lawbooks, where the G3, instead of being piloted by Amuro, is just developed and stay in Lunar 2 because the RX-78-2 got all the upgrades anyway. And I should have a Okawa's illustration on the side. You can see how the Beyond Global is very, 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 very different from Okawa's design. It is very, very thin, to say the least. That's because the Beyond Global version is a technical showcase of Bandai. It combines the action or visual elements of the revived HGUC RX-78-2 and the fine details of the RG 1.0 RX-78-2. And so there are a lot of details like the knee, the forearm, and the cockpit. You can see are very different from Okawa's original drawings. I would like to mention Okawa colored the G3 in different shades of gray, but over the years, Okawa and other illustrators also colored G3 in shades of gray and purple for more space theme and probably make it more, or rather make it less monotone. The Beyond Global G3 Gundam is not at all faithful to Okawa's design, but that does not mean that the Beyond Global is doomed for style. Let's get some close-ups. The G3 Beyond Global's head is definitely a RX-78 type head. While there's no color separation for the vents on the side, as I have to paint them, the Falcon gun are in separate colors. So is the camera on top, and the eyes, and the chin receiver, and of course middle of the antenna. Down to the chest, like I said, a very different styling for the cockpit. You can see some gray parts poking through. That's sort of the inner frame. of the Beyond Global, and the vents are in a deep shade of purple. Looking at the abdomen, there are quite a bit of sculpts done in the Beyond Gobal, so even in some very dramatic or dynamic poses, there are still plenty of good size to show. Skirts, typical of RX-78. Do note they have quite a bit of details for the attachment port on the side skirt, but it is not actually functional as a gimmick. Still, very nice detail. Down to the thigh, front half with a separate line, part separate line, very good there. And then very elaborate, elegant angled surface. Down to the knee, like I said, very elaborate compared to the original or Koala's design. Straight from the RG and quite common for large scale detailed RX-78 as well. But yeah, rarely seen in the smaller scale until the RG. Same for the chin, lots of details. And I do want to note the joints, the ankle and knee joints, the side of it. They are separate color, like white on top, and then the inner frame provides the dark gray. Ankle armor slightly embossed with a little tab. It is separated right in front of it, so the separation line is a lot more natural compared to other attempts. The foot itself pretty plain, not so different from other RX-78, except you can see the toe here. It has a bit of like a grating, which is actually a hollow, but from the top it looks like they got gratings details down here. But the rest of the foot is still fairly well detailed. So when you have the toe on the ground and lifting up, you can't see the hollow, but you will see all of these thrusters and padding, which is nice. The arm, the shoulder pads, it's one piece and have a bit of detail on the side to emboss it. The shoulder itself is quite a build with a white covering over the gray in the frame, and then a one-piece bicep as usual, and then a very well detailed elbow joint. The side of the elbow, like the legs, have the white circular part over the darker joint itself for the detail. And then the forearm, like once again showing a bit of the inner frame, and then an inner frame for the width before going to a quite a large piece in compared to the rest of the proportion of the model. So definitely a UC Gundam or kit. Going to the back, the backpack is very elaborate compared to the more traditional backpack you see with the HGUC GM, and weirdly in line with the GP types and kind of Katoki-like. So once again, while not at all accurate to the Okawala's design, it is very consistent UC Gundam like. Oh yeah, the camera at the back of the head also is in purple like the front camera, a rarity for a Heisei 144. The beam sabers, again, very well detailed, not really seen in a Heisei. Back of the abdomen, again, a lot of details. And then back skirt, not single color. Took Bandai quite a while to figure this out, but for the Beyond Global, they definitely figured it out. And then showing the back of the leg because it is just gorgeous. So style-wise, while the G3 Gundam Beyond Global is not at all close to its original design from Okawara, as a technical demonstration for Bandai, the Beyond G3 Gundam Beyond Global definitely provide a very detailed kit, and something that's hard to show you guys is it is surprisingly easy to build. It is definitely still a HG kit with details that rivals RG, at least on the surface. Like internally, when you start stripping off the armor pieces, no, it's not as elaborate, detailed, and complicated as the RG. But with all the army pieces on, the Beyond Global definitely give the impression that it is very close to RG. I would say, yeah, as far as HG go, the Beyond Global is almost, I would say almost, on the pinnacle of detailing and styling without sacrificing its action, which is where we're getting into. Head is not so different really, just a neck, forward and back, and then a ball joint for the head. So that Gundam can look up quite a bit. Torso, there's double ball joint, so let's spray the ammo. Double ball joint for the top of and the bottom of the abdomen, and a bit more from the cockpit. And then you will see these gaps here, that is the shoulder joint that you can actually pull all the way out. In conjunction with the ball joint of the arm, you can have the Beyond Gobal almost touching its other shoulder, which is something not many Gundam can do. While we are with the arm, the double joint elbow going about 145 degree, and you can see this break line, that is a extra ball joint. Combine that with the hands ball joint, Beyond Gobal can easily reach its own beam saber. And then the skirts, independent movement for the skirts. And then the side skirt, interestingly, is just a pivot up and down, but it is done in such a way that it gave a lot of clearance for the legs. Also quite different is how Beyond Global have pivot for the back skirt, so you can get a lot of leg. You can put the leg way at the back. And then we go for knee movement. Ah, yes, already kicking his own backpack. Yeah, if we chill out on that. Yeah, Beyond Global's leg can fall almost 180 degree. Or fully 180 degree actually. All things considered. And then the foot have a lot of pivot to the front, so you can get Beyond Global in a very, very big kneeling or landing pose. And then, oh, actually, before we go to the other leg, you can also use this. There's also extra joint at the thigh, so you can drop down Beyond Gobal's leg to a lower position for a more natural look of kneeling. And then for this leg, we're going, or not, we're just going to give it. Beyond Global can easily do a very stable and natural kneeling pose. You can play around with it for whatever variants. Obviously, like I said, some of the internals aren't really there, so they are not as nice as the RG, but it's definitely, they definitely does not matter because that's not how you are going to display or photograph, or you can do a lot of things to sort of, fudge them to the side so that they're not as unsightly. What we'll do is, there you go. There, I cover up that knee joint. Anyways, as you can see, while the Beyond Global's proportion is not designed to be close to original Okawala's design, nor does it took the balance route that HGUC took. How should I say, for static poses, Beyond Globals definitely have the proportion nailed down for dynamic poses. It's the smaller torso or the bigger limbs like really emphasize the depth of field for the Gunpla. In that sense, it is very realistic, at least photorealistic, I say. Beyond Global really delivers on getting photorealistic with its proportions. And that's not it for the legs. In addition to be able to drop down, they also have, well, they have very wide side movement due to the double joint, but also a additional joint to go back in, so you can get Beyond Global into some very ballet-like poses with the tiptoe, very far tiptoeing. Again, one of the classic Gundam poses that can be easily recreated with the Beyond Global. So action-wise, this is basically, well, I guess top of the line of HG is the best. Oh yeah, forward can go far as well. And of course, another very classic RX-78 pose. And of course, another classic RX-78 pose where it's basically shoot under his armpit. Can be easily recreated with the Beyond Gobal. So without repeating myself too much, the Beyond Gobal is definitely top of the line action. Not just limited to HG, to be honest. Even for bigger scales, it's hard for them to pull off some of these actions. Gimmick. Let's finish pulling out the beam saber for G3 and give it the beam saber blade. You can see even the above the hilt, they got more details for it. It is pretty stable, right side up, but upside down, well, actually better than I thought. So we have very stable beam saber holding, and there's a bit more with this extra joint. Let's put the beam saber back. We have enough beam saber shenanigans with other videos. Let's see where are the details. There you go. This gap in the forearm is not just a gap. It can be used to attach the shield. The shield bites into the exposed detail as well as the gap. And again, slit that is see-through, and you got swivel with this shield blade. Bandai decided to make the white part extra thin so that the front color, like in this case the purple, can show through in contrast with the gray backing. And like the rest of the G3 Beyond Gobal, there is quite a lot of detail. In fact, front of the shield, usually you need to color in these two fixture holes. They are part of the shield backing. And there's these two reinforced ribs, again from the backing. Separate color for the Federation Star. And you can either have the shield handle, it is square, so you can put it with G3's hand so that it is super stable, or you can put it on the side so you can have the hand free for the beam saber, or let's take it off the brace. Use the second position so that G3 can hold the shield right in the middle, and that would be enough to cover most of G3. Well, depending on the angle, but yeah, that's a lot more coverage than you usually get from putting a shield way up close. What's more, let's put the handle back to the lower position so it does not interfere with the attachment point. Now you can keep, there's a bit of hollow here, but you don't usually see it. Yeah, you can keep using this for other attachments that also have a 3mm port, or you just don't want to have a gap in your Beyond Gobal, and done. The beam rifle, very well detailed. Optic finally got a separate color piece, and it is movable like in the anime. And then the front grip is movable. The front grip is movable, but because of the shape, you do need to open up the universal hammer grip to grab onto it. I really like how they add these knobs on the top of the handle of the beam rifle, like their iron sights. Like, you know, like somehow maybe the optic is busted, and then Gundam actually needs these iron sights as reference point for more accurate shooting. That is just funny to me. But yeah, that's there as a detail. Yeah, not much weapons for the Beyond Global, but usually that's what you get with the RX-78, so I wouldn't stress over it. Oh, and extra hands. We get a spray hand for more dramatic posing on the left, and a standard hammer grip for the right hand. Not that standard hammer grip wouldn't work on the beam rifle, but it's definitely nicer to have the trigger finger one on the rifle hand. Oh, and this tab on the side of the beam rifle, it can be used to store the beam rifle at the back of the skirt. So yeah, gimmick wise, the Beyond Global isn't big on volume, but its many movement, its extra details, and the very well built shield and rifle is definitely great gimmicks. So finally, absence. With such great style, great action, and great gimmicks, you may wonder, what's the catch? And the catch is the Beyond Global is sold at a much higher price. The G3 color is a limited edition item where they only sold in Gundam base or Gundam events. So for the G3 it's extra hard to get. For the normal RX-78-2, that would be 2,100 yens plus tax, or with tax. The Beyond Global RX-78-2 is the second most expensive Heikki in the Bandai catalog, only being cheaper than the Gundam the Origin version, which comes with most RX-78 weapons, including the hyper bazookas, and the addition of a shoulder cannons and a plethora of options all around it. So you do pay for all the extra technical showcase that Bandai is demonstrating. Having said that, I do like to see more G3, especially. It would be nice if Bandai just go, you know what, we are going to release Beyond Global as G3 because G3 is supposed to be, this mature, complete version of the RX-78-2. Now, of course, due to the events of the novels, that might not be a great idea, but to me, it would be nice to have more RX-78 variants. Sure, the RX-78-2, the grandpa would always sell, but it is nice to expand the catalog a little bit once in a while, especially with, such events type of model kit. In fact, Bandai recently announced a G3 version of the Best Collect Revival with their idol group, which I think is great. More G3 available to people. The only quirk is I'm not sure if the Best Mecha Collect G3 would remain, to be sold regularly. I would like to see more RX-78, other units in the Bandai catalog instead of just another version of RX-78-2. So, option-wise, everything for a standard RX-78 -3 G3 is sort of here. Missing the Hyper Bazooka is not great. Okay, let's start from the top. Not having the Hyper Bazooka, that is enough for not achieving S rank. Not a regular release, that is not good for A. Costing more, but with the extra colored quality, I don't think it's a big problem. So I guess the G3 Gundam Beyond Global can stay at B for absence. To recap, the HG1 to 144 RX-78-3 G3 Gundam Beyond Global is definitely not a faithful recreation of Okawara's or its novel counterpart. However, given the proportions selected to create a depth of field so that it is easier to have very dramatic and dynamic camera shots for it, and all the extra details added on it without over encumbering the design, and all the very good part separation and color separation. Oh, I didn't talk about how the V is a separate color part. And only one sticker for the eye, which may or may not help in our case. Either way, with good parts and color separation, with a styling that will serve very good for being photorealistic or photodramatic, the G3 Gundam Beyond easily gets an S for style. Action, similarly, having the modern action, or actually all the tricks in the back of modern action, like the extra joint for the thigh, like the extra crunch on the chest around the cockpit, and then the shoulder joint, and also the wrist joint. Again, not a faithful recreation of the original RX-78, but it is something that allows the Beyond Global to provide realistic action or dramatic action, just extra good for the action. So it easily gets an S for action. Gimmick, multicolor beam rifle, although it's just the optic, still, I didn't talk about it, but the muzzle is actually a very modern three prong. With the iron sights for the part separation, and then very detailed beam saber, very detailed and multi-position handle shield. I think the G3 Beyond Global easily get an S for Gimmick. The only downside for the G3 Beyond Gobal is in absence, where it is a special edition, limited edition, that Bandai only sold at events or Gundam base, irregularly add to that. And the Beyond Global itself is set on a slightly higher price point, and that it does not come with the Hyper Bazooka or even more elusive, the Hyper Hammer. The verdict: the HG12144 RX-78-3 G3 Gundam gets an S for style, S for action, S for gimmick, and B for absence. Overall, I guess it's a very good limited or special edition item, as the G3 Gundam isn't quite, top billing in many cases, and even less so people know about the novel version of Mobile Suit Gundam, which events happen quite differently at places. But for the overall Gundam lore, the RX-78-3, the G3 definitely still exists, and it should have a representation or for the longevity, and I think for the longevity of the hobby, the Mobile Suit variation projects really proven themselves. So I think there should be a general release of G3, be it they recolor it to be even more accurate to how it is in the MSV Okawa's illustration, or other renditions of the G3 where off-white is actually just great, and probably instead of two different purple tones, just one tone purple. Either way, if you do encounter the G3 Beyond Global, I definitely recommend you to pick it up for a fair price. And if you're looking at the Gundam, the RX-78-2 Gundam Beyond Global, and wondering about it, I would say that is a good kit as well. For me, I definitely picked this up because it is a G3 in 1:144 scale, and there isn't a lot of them around. This model would be used for future videos where I need a RX-78-2 stand-in, where the overly classic Mecha Collect does not work. But there are different times. Although I might have other versions of RX-78-2 in the backlog as well. We'll see how often we see this guy as, a stand-in, a baseline comparison. Thanks for watching. See you next time.